Bitcoin has retested the $25,000 resistance once more. The smaller time frames leading up to the 4-hour chart is showing weakness in the trend, with dropping momentum and loss of volume. We're going to discuss the short-term price action today and talk about the next move for Bitcoin over the weekend. Let's get into it. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin today, discussing the short-term price action. As we have noticed, momentum is starting to drop. As you would know, momentum is a leading indicator for price action, and when we see momentum falling, it generally indicates a potential rejection / reversals incoming. So are we going to see a rejection for Bitcoin this upcoming week? Let's get into the video and discuss that. Before we do, smash the like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel for daily videos on Bitcoin. We focus on the technicals and the charts alone. We also talk about the market data and the traditional markets, as well as economic data in our videos. You can also find us on Telegram. That will be that second link down below. If you have not joined up already, I highly recommend you'll get updates on all of our videos in here, news events, economic data, charts, educational posts, and more. If you're interested in joining our trading channel, you can go ahead and contact me via Telegram to get updates on exclusive Bitcoin and altcoin trades. We do both shorts and longs in this channel, guys. Every trade has exact entries, exact targets, and exact stop losses. Not only that, you'll get updates and access to our VIP group chat, where we do many additional trades in there with all our group members. Let's go ahead and get started and talk about the market data. So currently, guys, Bitcoin is up 6.63% for the month. We have seen weekend volatility come back. So again, that weekend volatility is basically, inexistent. We've seen 24-hour liquidations drop 71%, and we've seen volume drop 54%. Again, the weekend, we generally don't see a lot of volatility. We generally don't see a lot of momentum. We generally don't see a lot of volume in the market. It is as expected. And as reflected by the price action, which we'll take a look at today, you will see that there's been much more consolidation within the last 24 hours than we've had over the last week. So moving on to volatility. Volatility has taken a little bit of a nosedive, down to 2.58%. It was up around 2.81 yesterday, 2.83. So we are starting to see that volatility plateau now as that 30-day period rolls over and starts not accounting for that surge in volatility we had during the start of Jan, the 1st of Jan moving up to like the 19th of January, where that massive surge of volatility came. And of course, liquidations have tightened out a little bit in the last 24 hours. We have seen some shorts and some longs liquidate, but again, we've had these long stretches where it's been very much more even and a lot more chop occurring in the market, again, representing consolidation, decreasing momentum, decreasing velocity, and of course, decreasing volume. So let's talk about the broader market. So DXY has rallied quite significantly in the last couple of days. Obviously, we had this very long, drawn out descending channel formation, an incredibly strong triple bullish divergence, which we bounced from at the start of Feb. We've been moving in an uptrend ever since. This uptrend has been relatively strong and is currently gaining strength. We are pushing above the price, above the resistance zone over here, which you can see represented by that blue box, which is sitting around 103. But more importantly, our small time frame moving averages are starting to break above our 50 EMA, representing increased strength, increased momentum, increased velocity, and therefore the strength of this trend is starting to increase. But we have printed quite a red 12-hour candle in the last candle print. So it's going to be very interesting, guys, to see how the DXY opens this week. And again, the DXY is going to be very leading for what the markets do. If the DXY does open red and continues downward through the support zone, we can expect the markets to continue upwards, and we can actually expect Bitcoin to potentially have another crack, potentially break past 25,000. But if the DXY does find support here and continues this trend that is in upward, we will see the Bitcoin and traditional markets take a little bit of a drop. Moving on to the Dow Jones, we can see we're still within our symmetrical triangle formation. Again, we are waiting for a daily candle close above our downward trending resistance, or a daily candle close below the uptrending support to result in a directional move. Our directional moves will take us the width of that symmetrical triangle. So we'll go ahead and draw that width out of the symmetrical triangle. Our measured moves will generally take us from breakout point to our lower resistances. So we're looking around 32,000 toward the downside, and we're looking around 36,600 toward the upside, guys, if we do break upwards. Again, if we break upwards here, the DXY would have to pull back. The markets will see a rally. Moving on to the S&P 500, this is concerning as the S&P 500 has broken toward the downside of a rising channel formation, a bearish consolidation pattern resulting in a trend reversal. But here's the but. We are currently hanging on by 2 points of support, the horizontal support range as well as the 50 EMA. So when we open up the candles this week, if the S&P 500 is unable to maintain these levels and loses that 50, we can expect a continuation downwards for the next week or next 2 weeks. And again, that will bring the markets down. However, if the S&P 500 can bounce here, that is going to increase the probability that we will see Bitcoin bounce as well. Remember, the DXY is strongly correlated to the S&P 500. So S&P 500 up, DXY down. And Bitcoin is positively correlated towards the S&P by 70%. So if the S&P 500 goes up, because the DXY is going down, Bitcoin has a greater probability to continue in that same direction, okay? It's not perfectly correlated, but it's strongly correlated. Moving on to the bond yields. The bond yield has come up to resistance over here. We are seeing 4.62. Again, if we are able to maintain this level, we will continue to new all-time highs over here, and that will result in a DXY continuing upwards. If this does drop, we can see the DXY pullback and the markets see some sort of relief. But guys, there's one more thing I want to talk about before we get into Bitcoin, and this is really important because you're probably going to think, why is he talking about this so soon? The next FOMC meeting is in 30 days. And yes, it's very early to be talking about this, but this is something I want to really discuss today because we had PPI come out, okay? We had CPI come out, okay? And CPI was up, PPI was up. And these are leading indications of what inflation is going to be. So we know that inflation is generally, if not plateauing here, or slowly starting to increase a little bit. So what impact is that going to have on the market? What impact is that going to have on cryptocurrency? What impact is that going to have on the narrative, which is the pivot is coming? Because right now, guys, the markets, whether it be Bitcoin, okay, whether it be S&P 500, the markets have generally been rallying over the last 3 or so months because we have had an expected pivot coming soon, okay? That is because the CPI decrease has developed a trend, which if we extrapolate to interest rates, okay, and continue that trend onward, we would notice a pivot that is coming soon, basically. However, that narrative could potentially be shifting, and that narrative shift could potentially increase bearish momentum in the market and result in the markets crashing. Here is why. CPI just came out red. So we had a little bit of a hiccup, okay? We had a little bit of a spike in CPI. Not only do we have a little spike in CPI, PPI came in higher too, which is a leading indicator for what CPI is going to be. So if PPI comes in higher, it could indicate that the producer price index, obviously the producers are shifting those costs down to consumers, and then CPI will come in higher next quarter or whenever it comes in next month, okay? Now, if that is increasing, it tells us that the interest rates are not as effective as they should be right now, and therefore we might need to tighten these interest rates, make them larger, or at least hold them where they are currently until we drop them again. That shifts the overall expected interest rate decline ratio, okay? Which is the basis of the perceived systematic risk decreasing the market, which is the essential building block of the narrative that the pivot is coming, if that makes sense. So if the narrative shifts from the pivot is coming to interest rates are now having to go back up, this expectation of the decrease of interest rates over time, which is building the narrative, will be destroyed, essentially, okay? And the narrative will change to, we don't know when the pivot's coming, okay? It will be, the pivot's coming soon, to the pivot will eventually come at some point, okay? And that is enough to shift the systematic risk in the market back to negative. That could result in a market crash, okay? And we do have that information coming out in 30 days. So a lot can happen in the next 30 days while we still cling on to this narrative, which is the pivot will potentially come soon. And again, in 30 days time, if we don't get the interest rates that we'd like to see, that narrative could completely shift. Again, this is very early to be talking about it, but I want to give everyone a heads up just so we're thinking about it now. This information is not going to impact the current price action for the next 4 weeks. The next 4 weeks of price action has nothing to do with the information we just talked about now, but it's something to talk about when we get closer to the date. Let's get into Bitcoin, guys, because there's a lot to talk about. I wanted to briefly interrupt today's video to discuss my favorite exchange, Bitget. If you're looking for a safe, honest, reliable, and accurate exchange, look no further than Bitget. You can sign up by the link in the description to support the channel and get access to 3 exclusive perks. That being up to $5,005 in trading rewards, up to 15% discount on your trading fees, and exclusive access to our MegaWhale promotion campaigns that we run every few months. Alongside that, guys, Bitget is a non-KYC exchange, meaning you do not have to KYC. It is completely optional. Bitget also has a protection fund that secures user assets against external hacks and threats in the space. Alongside that, guys, Bitget offers up to 125x leverage on futures with extensive amount of trading pairs and liquidity on the market. I highly recommend signing up to Bitget. It is the exchange I've been using for over a year and a half now, including all of our members. If you're interested in signing up, trading there, and supporting the channel, you can do so with the link in the description. Thanks for listening. So short term for Bitcoin, guys, we can see overall momentum is currently positive, right? We see positive momentum on the RSI. We have this uptrending momentum, and we also have positive momentum on the market side for B, being the momentum is above our 0 point, and as well on the MACD. However, we can see, guys, on the 4 hour, we have a slight decrease in momentum, meaning that momentum is weakening and weakening very slightly. It's not a strong decrease of momentum, okay? It's a very weakening in momentum, if that makes any sense. If we imagine a momentum graph, so we have overall momentum going upwards, and then we have, if we pivot over here, we have momentum going back downwards and then momentum going back upwards. If we look at where we are currently, it's something like this, right? We see upwards momentum, which is kind of curving off very, very, very slowly. So we do have this very slight gradual decrease in momentum right now on the charts. And this is something to be worried about just because of the current state of where the S&P 500 is, where the DXY is, and where Bitcoin is on a horizontal level and on macro level. Remember, the Bitcoin price currently is sitting under not only the 200 moving average on the weekly, okay, which will show you really quickly over here, the 200 moving average on the weekly on this chart, okay, you'll see represented by the yellow line, but also the major resistance level, which is sitting at 25,200, represented by the August high. So although we only starting to see momentum slightly decrease at these resistances, it is something we still need to be a little bit concerned about and definitely aware about moving forward into this new week when the markets could open up red and we could see it dragged down by the DXY and dragged down by the S&P 500. Of course, if we do break upwards here, that's fantastic. We'll talk about that in a second. But if we do break down, this is a good leading indicator for it. So currently, we've had 2 retests of the 25K zone. We've had a 25.2K retest, which was at August high, which we just talked about, and we just had a 25K retest in the last 24 hours right over here. This is 24 hours ago. Now, like I said already, on the smaller time frames, the 4 hour, the 6 hour, okay, and even the 8 hour, we can start to see momentum is slowly starting to lose strength. And we can say, again, slowly, as we have a very weak decrease in RSI over here. Its overall trend is still upwards, but it's starting to plateau, signifying a decrease in velocity, okay? We can see that the momentum on the MACD is starting to curve downwards, and we do have consecutive weaker prints on the MACD's volume, suggesting the trend, this momentum, this uptrending momentum is starting to lose strength and is weakening. And we can see, again, a very slight curvature here in the market side for B, indicating, again, an early onset of loss of momentum. If we go down to a 6 hour chart, we see all of those 4 things in more extreme points of view. We can see a more aggressive curve here on the MACD. We can see a more aggressive curve here on the market side for B, and we can see even more plateau occurring here on the RSI. Going down to a 4 hour chart is where it gets very interesting. Now, down to a 4 hour chart, we can see where it really starts to get a little bit more confusing because the momentum is very much starting to plateau. So what this suggests, it suggests we have obviously positive momentum, but we have a very slight decrease in strength of that positive momentum as it starts to flip downwards. So generally we have positive momentum aggressively flip negative, okay, and then it'll flip negative here, okay, and continue down. Or we can have positive momentum that very slightly or slowly flips negative and then flips negative finally over here. This is what we're seeing. We're just seeing a slow drawn out loss of momentum at this resistance, and this is of course because it's the weekend. We're seeing momentum, velocity, and overall volume decrease. So it's only natural to see a little bit of weakness. But this little bit of weakness, again, isn't something we should disregard because we are moving into a new week. The markets are closed right now. If the markets do open red, this little bit of weakness is going to turn into a lot of weakness and it will bring those markets down. Now, if we do continue downwards, what targets are we looking at? We are looking at very simple targets, guys. We're looking at whole numbers, 24,000, okay? We're looking at this local high area here, so a 24,000 range. We're looking at this local low area over here, 23,500. Then we're going down from there. These horizontal ranges, right? We're looking at the lows of this range, 22,500, 22,000, 21,500, etc., all the way down. Now, if the uptrend is lost, okay, we could potentially head even lower to 19,200. But again, the probability that we continue that low is very minimal. It's incredibly minimal. Right now, guys, we do have to understand, although the short term is suggesting we are losing strength, we are losing momentum, the DXY is rising, the S&P 500 is dropping down, the overall trend right now for Bitcoin is still incredibly strong upward trend, okay? Look at the daily. We have, okay, I'll bring up some momentum indicators too, just to show you, okay? Look at the market cipher A. Look where the price is compared to the 50 MA. We are aggressively higher than the 50 MA, suggesting an incredibly strong and volatile trend, okay? The trend is very much strong. Looking at the RSI, guys, we can see, again, the RSI is in this overall upward trend, right? It is overall upward trend, again, suggesting momentum is overall positive. However, on the daily chart, we can still start to see divergences pop in play. We're seeing decreasing RSI, rising price at resistance, definitely something to be concerned about. What I'm saying today, I'm giving everyone a warning. I'm saying we're going into a new week. There's no guarantee we're going to break over 25K. There is a certainty that S&P 500 is broken down. There's certainty the DXY is broken up. There's certainty we're at resistance. There's certainty we're seeing a slight decrease in momentum right now that could extrapolate the larger decrease in momentum. Right now, shorts are more favorable. That could change next week. Absolutely. That could absolutely change next week. But according to the data right now, this is data we have. We're not going to speculate. We're going to go off the raw data and we're going to prepare for the worst case scenario moving into next week, which is a rejection, okay? If it rejects next week, we are not shocked. We are not surprised. We're very much aware and prepared for that corrective move if it does occur, okay? So looking at that, we can see the overall uptrend is very much intact. Now, this is where people get confused. They say, oh, you expect a 25K rejection, you must be bearish, you expect the price to go down. You can see healthy corrections in an overall uptrend, okay? Believe it or not, guys, you can see healthy corrections in an uptrend, right? What was this? It was a healthy correction, right? It was a healthy correction in a strong uptrend. If we see another correction to 22.5, we can see a bounce again, healthy correction. When will a correction turn from being a healthy correction into a break of the trend? Well, that will occur under 21,500. If the price action drops below 21,500, that would be an indication that the correction from 25K, if we reject, will be a break of the current trend and it will signify the price is going to go lower. Most probable range for a retest is going to be between the 17,000 and 19,002 range. We're looking at somewhere around 18,400, okay, to 19,200. That will be the most probable retest zone if 21.5K is lost. So do not go into this week with overconfidence, okay? It's a big week coming up, okay? It's a very big week coming up. Bitcoin's at major resistance. The S&P 500 is just broken down. I think a lot of people don't really understand how significant this price range is. Just to put it in perspective, guys, this price range is not even so significant on the macro over here. But we zoom out to the massive large time frame, like the yearly time frame, we can see the 200 moving average is sitting right at resistance. We're literally sitting right under the 200 moving average on the weekly chart. Not only that, we're literally sitting on the 50 EMA on the monthly chart. This is an incredibly important level that we need to test for the overall lifespan of Bitcoin. We look at the next year, the next 2 years of price action. is very much dependent on where we are right now. Very much so. So definitely keep an eye on it, guys. It's very important. We do get a break up here. If we do get a break past 25K, we are looking for a monthly candle close in 9 days, about the 50 EMA to confirm that breakout. We're looking for a weekly candle close of the 200 to confirm that breakout. We need both of those things to occur to actually get proper confirmation that a macro uptrend has developed. If a macro uptrend develops, we are continuing upwards. We are continuing upwards. We could see healthy corrections along the way. Absolutely, we will see healthy corrections along the way, but new lows will not come in, okay? I'm going to leave it there, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Smash the like button. Join the Crypto Academy. If you want to learn how to trade, go over here. Contact us. 10-unit course. We teach you everything you need to know how to trade. Market patterns, candlesticks, absolutely everything. Technical indicators. We'll teach you how to find your own trades, how to execute proper risk management, and everything in between, guys. Go ahead and contact us, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.